Do you make it up?
Dreamland, run away to a dreamland. Dreamland, run away to a dreamland.
Audience participation.
Dreamland, you might be scared, but don't be scared, 'cause people are there, they will hold your hand.
I do sometimes wonder what difference it would have made had my mum known whilst pregnant with me about my genetic condition. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 4. I was on the short side of average, but that was very expected. My mum is Welsh and my grandma was 4'10", so that wasn't a complete surprise. I was just a very normal kid. I loved The Little Mermaid, dressing up, thought I was a princess most of the time, you know. When my mum found out I had Turner syndrome, first thing her mind went to was life expectancy. She actually has a PhD in biology and taught the disorder, so she had a vague understanding, but she remembers being in the doctor's office and being given this really scary list of about 18 to 20 things that could be wrong and quite severely wrong. Webbed neck, so yes, skin from my ear to my shoulder, low educational prospects, really struggling at school, social anxiety, heart murmur, kidney failure, some really scary things, and I think it was a lot to take in. I have a type of Turner syndrome called mixed gonadal dysgenesis, which brings with it an incredibly high risk of ovarian cancer. So when I was 4, my parents made the impossible decision to have my ovaries removed. So I am now infertile, which is a fairly common side effect of Turner syndrome for a lot of women, sadly. I have never disagreed with what my parents decided. I cannot imagine being in that situation and having to make that choice for your 4-year-old daughter. It's really sad to think of them in that situation. When you're 5, the infertility is just something to understand. It's more theoretical. But you know, when you're 25, 26 and your friends start having babies of their own, and it's occasionally a lot harder to deal with. My mum reacted by asking, what's Caitlin going to be good at, because we'll just focus on that. So over the years that followed, we were actually able to tick off quite a lot from that list of dread. So I am 4'11". I am not the tallest person. I was on growth hormone for 10 years from the age of 5, so I'm actually a giant amongst Turner girls. I have one larger kidney than the other, but that's definitely not the worst type of kidney problem you can have with Turner syndrome. And yeah, I'm pretty awful at algebraic equations, but yeah, that's basically it. Turner syndrome is not my identity, and I owe that entirely to my family. They never let me use the disorder as an excuse.
Well done, Caitlin!
If I was struggling with maths, as I often did, they would just support me working more on it, basically. My mum would sit with me and revise. My brother, who was very good at maths, would help me. If I was struggling with weight, they would all support me in exercising. My mum and dad running me around to dance and all kinds of activities, supporting me exercising more. And if I ever felt bad about my height, they were always super lovely as well, and I think most of the time would just remind me that my absolute idol, Judy Garland, also was a smidgen under 5 foot. Although Turner's girls can struggle academically, I've actually earned my bachelor's degree in English literature from Cardiff University, did my first master's in international relations at the University of Bristol. I then moved to America, where I studied my master's in journalism, focusing on global health, and I'm currently doing my PhD based at UCL, but my research is taking place in Botswana, where I'm designing an intervention to help women who have HIV have more effective use of contraception. I've actually been really lucky to travel a lot as well. So when I was 18, I won a place on the Prime Minister's Global Fellowship, which I went to India for 6 weeks, and then I worked there in consecutive summers on various projects. So through all my travels and experiences, I've never struggled to make friends. I've got a great group of people around me, which I know can be a struggle for some Turners girls. I'm also in a 6-year relationship with a wonderful guy, very long term, who's very long suffering as well. Yeah, been together, as I said, 6 years. Very normal day-to-day life, to be honest. 2 cats and a dog, so you know. Except I do leave him for months at a time to go to Botswana to do my research. So I think he definitely finds my wanderlust more inconvenient than my height. I describe this stuff, I guess, to describe a life that many people would not think possible of someone with a genetic disorder.
Yeah.
Genetics have never dictated my achievements. I like to think I lived a pretty normal existence. But yeah, I do worry that with the advances in prenatal genetic testing, that more people are being given a Turner syndrome diagnosis or other genetic disorders, and that the variation in these disorders isn't being explained adequately. So for me, doctors and genetic counsellors need to provide a fair and accurate representation of these disorders, especially to pregnant mothers and their partners, and they should include the stories of people like me.